Hi, this is Dr. Allaire from the University of Houston downtown, and today we're going to be reading the book Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll by Jay Miletsky. This is a super cute book that you would probably read to your class anyway. And that's sort of the going theme for a lot of the books that we're going to read together this semester. Not necessarily reading science trade books, but taking a look at children's literature that you would read to your students anyway, and then figuring out how you can connect the books that you're reading to your students already to satisfy ELA and literacy requirements, and connect those in particular with science. And so for each of the books that we're going to be reading together this semester, I'm going to be asking you to think about the themes of the book, to look at the images that are in the book, to think about the words that are in the book, and to think about how do you pull science lessons from a children's literature book. Okay, so again, today we're reading Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll by Jay Miletsky. By the way, this is a great book for multiple grade levels, but in particular grades such as first, second, and even third grade. All right. Over the lake, out past the bay, was a green grassy hill where the rocks came to play. They would race to the top and take in the view, then roll their way down the way rocks love to do. There were Kip, Pip, and Chester, and Marvin the Boulder. Ignatius played too, though he was much older. And a group called the Pebbles never ever sat still, zigzagging their way up and over the hill. So there's the Pebbles. Kai was a meteorite and not from this planet, and Maya was lava but taken for granite. Stu was the smart one, Parker the clown, and grumpy old Ebert rolled round with a frown. Gabby was sassy, Lisey had flair, Emma was giggly, and Hud had black hair. But the one trait that seemed to be shared by them all was that every rock there was shaped like a ball, and because they were round, they could easily roll through the grass past the lake and up over the knoll. Except for poor Ricky, who quietly sat. You see, Ricky couldn't roll because one side was flat. His friends didn't get it. "Come roll," they would chant. So Ricky tried, but replied, "I'm sorry, I can't." But the rocks were determined. They were sure they could solve Ricky's flat-sided problem and help him revolve. So Marvin the Boulder, with his impressive physique, carried Rick all the way up to the hill's grassy peak. Then he pushed him downhill, yelling, "Keep rolling, kid!" But Rick didn't roll. He just kind of slid. Well, the rocks weren't done, not by a mile. Surely this next try would get Rick to smile. They stuck rubber balls all over Rick, using big gobs of glue to get them to stick. They were proud of themselves. "This will work," they announced. But Ricky still couldn't roll. Now he just sort of bounced. Well, they pushed and they pulled, trying every which way to get Rick to roll, but by the end of the day, nothing had worked, just like Rick expected, and he ended up feeling depressed and dejected. "It's no use," Ricky sighed. "There just isn't a way. So I'll sit off to the side and watch you all play." But his friends wouldn't quit. "We're here for you, brother. We'll get you to roll one way or another." So they pondered and thought, each straining his brain, till they looked up and saw it was starting to rain. And that's when it hit that smart stone named Stu. "Eureka!" he shouted. "I know just what to do." He explained to them how they would get Rick to tumble. "My plan is pure genius." Stu wasn't too humble. So they carried our hero down the road 'bout a mile, to the lake where they gathered up mud they could pile, on the flat side of Rick creating a mound that they shaped, smoothed, and sculpted until it was round. Then after the rain, with the sun in the sky, they left him to bake till the mud was all dry. They gathered up vines and one colorful feather that they wrapped all round Rick to keep it together. See, there is their creation. When the last knot was tied and the work was all done, the only step left was for Rick to have fun. They all stood back and watched, feeling nervous and tense, as Rick breathed in deep with increasing suspense. He moved slowly at first, testing out his new mold, and then, for the first time, Ricky the Rock rolled! So Bria the ladybug, who'd been there from the start, felt a surge of pure joy swell up in her heart. She thought as she watched her friends play on the hill that there's always a way if there's always a will. And she said to herself as Ricky rolled down the slope, when you're surrounded by love, you always have hope. There's Rick playing with his friends. So that was the book, Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll. And of course, you're welcome to watch this video and read along as many times as you need. Again, Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll by Jay Miletsky. So your mission now is to think about the images in the book, to think about the words in the book, to think about the overall theme and message of the book, and to come up with 3 potential science lessons or ideas for science lessons. These don't have to be full-blown, fleshed-out lessons or lesson plans. These are just ideas for things that you can cover. Now, because this book is ideal for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade, it would be best that your lessons fall into those grade levels as well. But here's the catch. I'm going to add a little twist here for you, okay, with those 3 lessons. Each of the lessons has to come from one of our big overarching science categories. That means that one lesson has to be considered a physical science lesson. That means physics or chemistry. Another lesson, a second lesson, has to be life science, okay? So thinking about biology, thinking about living things. A third lesson has to be an earth and space science lesson, okay? So 3 lessons, potential lessons that you could pull directly from Ricky the Rock That Couldn't Roll. Again, one needs to be physical science, one needs to be life science, and one needs to be earth and space science. All right, so thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in class.